Speaking of Chernobyl, why did Chernobyl happen?
So Chernobyl happened due to a number of reasons. Not for it was the reactor was not planned well to begin with. A lot of people did not follow regulations, so
Do
it
we
was like
still have the same reactors out operating?
no.
They're all got
The reactors are different. At least the part that was very crucial from like at this point, will it go further or just stop? And at some point, crucial point, they had to do something, and that component they had to pull in the reactor did not fit or was not planned well, and that just got the reaction to get out of control. It's not planned. It's not designed that way today, and for a while. So it was bunch of reasons, accumulation of reasons that got a lot worse than it should have been. And
was it like something that out of negligence could have been prevented, or it's
some
just a
negligence,
natural
yeah.
thing they discovered? They made mistakes. You know.
No. It was a poor design with negligence. Yeah, that was Chernobyl.
So the poor design, was that because of lack of research, or they just didn't care?
That's a good question. If they didn't care, maybe they didn't care in Soviet Union back then. But back then those components were up to specification. That's the way they used it. They weren't supposed to contain this kind of situation, and when the situation arose, they weren't up to the task. Because under normal circumstances, those components should do this job as no problem. But when you get to that critical point, you cannot use those components. And I can get into specifics if you want.
Yeah.
So what happened in Chernobyl was that they was trying to do an experiment in the reactor. And in order to do the experiment, they had to lower the power of the reactor to about 50% of the normal usage. And because of that, when a nuclear reactor works, there's what we call fission products. There's some kind of gases that accumulate in the fuel because of the fission reaction. And if you guys want, I have like a very good
which slide is it?
Image. Just continue, you'll see it, of a fission. A little bit more, yeah. So yeah. So if you see here, when you have the uranium and it's bombarded with neutron, it splits into two, and one of the products is just barium, which is solid, but the other one is krypton. It can be krypton. In other cases, it can be xenon. Those are inert gases, and they accumulate in the nuclear fuel. So what happened that when the normal operations, at some point they just cleared out at some point, because the reaction goes on, and when it's high power, the neutrons and whatever you have inside just clear out the krypton, and that's not a problem. But they were working on 50% or even less than 50% of and that on one hand led to the accumulation of the xenon in that case, and not clearing it out because it's not enough power. And what that happens, what that leads to is over time, the reactor cannot work as well. So the power kind of diminishes. So they got to about 7% at some point, but they decided to do the experiment they were planning anyways. And 7% is not enough power to do the experiment. So they decided to remove all the fail-safes and all the control components.
So that's pure negligence of the whole thing.
Yeah, in order to make the experiment work. And at some point, there were no fail safes, no control components, and the reactor operation just got out of control, got overheated.
So why did it get overheated? It wasn't strong enough to handle or something?
Because I have another slide if you guys want, but the way to control the reaction is to pull in and out control rods. Those control rods have a very high cross section of absorbing those neutrons that get the reaction started, right? So when they're pulled in, the reaction basically stops. So you can pull them in and out, and they control the height of them inside the reactor and out in order for the reaction to be slower or faster. So if you want to shut down the reactor totally, you have to pull them all the way in, and the reactor shuts down. But what they did, they pulled them all the way out. They just removed them from the reactor. So at some point, it became uncontrollable. And it overheated as a result. And this is where the poor design comes into play. Those rods, which are mostly made of boron, it's a very high. It has the highest ability to absorb neutrons that make the reaction happen. Those boron rods were coated with graphite.